Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joy at Work. It's August 4th, 2023. It's really good to be with you all. Thanks for the time you spend watching, providing feedback. I really appreciate all of you. I hope you're well and I hope you're safe. So, I talked about early this week on social media how I'm going to spend some time talking about Aristotlean virtues and how they apply to joy at work. And I'm really looking forward to this, but that means we're going to be talking about this for a few weeks or maybe a few months because it's we have more than a handful of virtues, and I intend to just share some thoughts on each one week over week. But before we get into this, I should probably give some background, and I should also offer up that this is a very deep and complex, rich topic, is really what I should say, even to the point that Aristotle wrote a book on it, and many people have written books on it since. And this has led to the field of what we describe as virtue ethics. So, what are virtues? And virtues are it can be explained in several ways. The literal translation might be seen as excellence, and this is excellence in character and excellence in reasoning. A broader definition that we might borrow from Aristotle could be to say doing the right thing in the right amount to the right object at the right time. That's a mouthful, but it is this idea of acting rightly all the time. And no one acts rightly all the time, but to live virtuously is to act rightly or to strive to act rightly all the time. And so when we think about it that way, it's really about identifying those things, that right action, in response to certain emotions or feelings. For example, the example that people talk a lot about is courage as a virtue. And courage is a response, the right response in the right amount to the right thing at the right time to fear. We all face situations where we're afraid, and it requires courage, the virtue, to respond in the right way. Now, Aristotle described virtues as sort of the mean, like the virtue, the right amount, if you will, is the mean, and the right amount can actually differ based on situation. So he also talked about the need for phronesis or practical wisdom, like knowing what to do, and we'll talk a little bit about this later. But it's also important to point out that virtues are bounded on both ends, if you will, by deficiencies and excesses. So if you're over courageous, if you will, you're foolhardy, right? If you run into a room without proper precautions, when somebody's maybe if the building's burning and you don't have proper precautions, you might say that's courage, but maybe it's foolhardy because it was taking courage a bit too far. The converse is also true, where you can have a deficiency when it comes to a virtue, which is not doing what you need to do in that situation. So maybe that's being a coward. You should speak up. You should say something in a given situation. So, but we don't. So we have vices, which can either be a deficiency or an excess. Taking it to the extreme would be an excess, or not having it show up at all, which would be a deficiency. And finding that sweet spot, the mean, the excellent behavior at that point is what we would consider the virtue. And when we demonstrate or act that, that would be acting virtuously. So, how do we become more virtuous? Maybe I should say this at the end of after we look at all the virtues, but I'll just say it now. We become virtuous by practicing and acting virtuously. There's really no shortcuts. It's by doing. How do we know what virtuous action looks like? Well, we've all seen people who've acted courageously. We've all seen people who've acted honestly. So we can look at people and see examples of the behaviors that we admire and we know to be virtuous. How does this deal with joy at work? Well, that's something we'll explore over the next couple of weeks. So hopefully this crash introduction to the concept of virtues and vices and practical wisdom makes some sense. And as we look at all the different virtues like courage, honesty, righteous indignation, wittiness, as we talk about all of them, hopefully you'll get even a deeper appreciation for virtues and how they can help us experience joy at work. All right, that's been a lot. Hopefully it resonates with you all. Looking forward to see you next week. Take care. Be safe. Bye.